Hi, team. Welcome to another week of Conversations with Joy as we really discover the joy on the journey to competitive greatness. Thank you, Joy, for another week of just a great conversation.
Excited to be here as always.
So I know that this week's conversation, we really want to talk about from change to champion. Everything that we've talked about in our series has really been the process of changing, elevating up, going for greatness, competitive greatness, all the elements that come into play for that champion mindset, the character code, building great teams. We've had really in-depth conversations week by week about winning strategies and performance barriers. This week, I want you to really share with us from your heart and from really your life experience. What does it take for an organization, a team, an athlete, a coach, anyone that really wants to go from change to champion? What does it take?
Well, I think, Carlette, we've talked about it before, just having that vision of really what you want, what that looks like for you. And it's hard. I mean, change is really, really hard. And I think a lot of people, one mistake that sometimes we make as humans and organizations is that we want to change everything all at one time. And I think that the main thing that we have to do is really start with, where does that start? Where does that start from, that change? And so whether it's a person, whether it's people, really thinking about what you want, putting that into action. And, we talk about in sports life coaching, new hope, new skills, new thinking, just taking a chance, really exercising that, just new thinking. Maybe it's not the way you've always thought it was going to be, but just that new thinking is important when you want change. New skills, learning something new, maybe hiring different people, being around different people, bringing different people into the organization. I think, and then that creates a new hope, I think. And so those things, and we talk about it, it has to be done over and over and over. We have to practice that, make it muscle memory. And that's hard for a lot of people. So change is tough. But I think in order to be a champion, to build a champion, especially if you haven't been there and it hasn't been something that's been a part of your culture or organization, then it takes a risk taker, and it takes, just go ahead and taking that chance and going with your heart.
Joy, it's so fascinating because as sport coaches or executives, we constantly empower and encourage our employees, or our coaches, or our athletes to take that risk, to go big, to have the courage, to go for what matters. We love to watch them either play or work in the zone of really going for it from a love perspective versus a fear or anxiety perspective. And yet sometimes for those of us that are in a leadership position, we don't always take our own advice from that perspective, right? It feels like we have too much to lose or there's too much to risk. And you have been in all of those positions. And so how have you had the courage to really take the risk and go for the change that's mattered so much to you and helped you become who you are today?
Well, I think when I think about, some of my successes in coaching, and, I think with my job as a head coach back then, it started with the people that I surrounded myself with. And so it's always very comfortable to think about, I want to bring people into my family or organization that I know, or maybe that somebody really close to me knows. And so, and not saying that that's not a winning strategy. I think that can be a great winning strategy, but I think some of the people that meant the most and really helped change, the trajectory of, the programs that I've been able to be a part of building, were some people that maybe they weren't really in those people that I knew really, really closely. And so I got a chance to know them, and that was part of it. But just having that new thinking of, wanting some fresh ideas, wanting people around me that could bring something different to the table was super important, and it worked out great. And I think, that was part of taking a risk, because we all have these, just really tight circles sometimes that we don't want to go outside of. But I think that's important. Also, the players that we brought into our organization as well, just maybe, whether it's different parts of the country, different areas that we might not have known as much about. I think those players turned out to be great for us, and really helped us build a championship culture.
Just having the courage to honor diversity and to go for diversity. And I think about the power of team. I think about a basketball team, and we've got short girls and tall girls and fast girls. And, all this gift of everybody being different is actually what makes the magic happen. And really honoring that we're who we are from a unique perspective and claiming what our strengths are and then practicing and contributing. And so many times it's easy in sport to talk about the power of team, but when we implement it into an organization or a corporation, we prefer that everybody be alike. It's like, I just feel like I can trust that or I know it. That's a big performance barrier, is wanting something to be the same versus the curiosity of, wow, let's learn something new. So, what are some winning strategies to bridge that gap between wanting to go for change and championship and the nervousness of, how do I trust this, or how do I trust somebody I don't know? That's a big gap.
I think that, it is, it's a huge risk. And so the one thing that was really important for me when I met with people or went outside of my comfort zone, so to speak, was really to have my questions ready that I
Mm.
wanted to ask them. And, just kind of knowing what I'm looking for. And even if it's not per se a formal interview, just really just talking to people, having questions, and talking to other people that might have known them. So really you can do your homework to kind of ease that. I think you're always going to have that little feeling of, is this really the best thing for me to do? And you won't really know that. I think it's kind of in any relationship. I mean, you hope it works out, and you think you've done your homework enough that you know it, but sometimes crazy might show up. So
Yeah,
you
that humanness, right?
right, right. But I think the thing about it, Carlette, is a winning strategy for me has always been to just really do homework, to really ask some really, really good questions, in terms of whether it's values based, whether it's, just some of their life experiences, things that they've learned and what they might bring to the table, and kind of figuring that out for yourself and just seeing if that aligns with, who you are and what your values are.
So, Joy, let's project forward. And we've taken the risk. We have really reached out and hired somebody or recruited someone that is different than what we usually go for. Yet we're committed to the different because we want that champion change. How do we set anybody up for success once they're in our organization or on our team, so that they feel comfortable and they feel welcome? And most importantly, they're set up for success.
Well, I think the first thing that comes to mind is communication, just really constant communication, really letting them know what works for you, finding out what works for them, what are winning strategies for them, and just constantly checking in with them. I think, when you know somebody already and you have a relationship already, it's pretty easy to kind of check in every now and then, or you just know each other, so it's different. But with somebody you're getting to know, you want to make sure that they feel supported, want to make sure that they know that you're there for them and anything that they need. No question is a silly question.
Yeah.
But really just to work together and understand each other better, it takes great communication.
Well, Joy, I think about, from a sport coaching perspective, how much time we spend with our athletes when we're their sport coach every day, right? We're on the court with them, for hours and hours. We're having this constant communication. And so we can be a rookie in relationship when they come in, but within a week or two, we've already had a tremendous amount of time on task, just getting to know each other inside the game, right? Not kind of, just chatting. We've had it inside working out. Yet in a business structure, we don't really have that opportunity to spend that much time together in meetings, doing things together and really working it out. So thank you for that winning strategy of really that intention, that we need more time on task together to really get better at our game and to be able to know each other in a way that helps strengthen both of us. So definitely a winning strategy, just that time on task component. So what are your words of wisdom when you think about really just honoring all of us for who we are, the curiosity of getting to know each other and enjoying that journey? And most importantly, how do we go from that change to champion in a way that it sticks, that it actually becomes the way of being rather than just something that happened kind of in the moment?
Well, I think again, Carla, that communication is really important, and really just knowing yourself as a leader, of the organization, of your team, whatever that is really knowing what you want and not being afraid, really trusting in yourself and how far you've come to be the leader of that group or whomever you are, that um, you get a good feeling about someone or recruits, employ other employees, that you really just go for that. And I know that sometimes that's easier said than done, but I think just really, like you said, honoring people for who they are, really getting to know people, letting people know that you're for them, and that you care about them. Again, I think we've talked about this, throughout our weeks together, and just your genuine concern for people and who they are and getting to know them just really makes those people want to work harder for you, makes your organization stronger, and I think will eventually lead to the championship culture that you want to try to build.
Joy, I know from just the gift that I've gotten to be around you and be in your life for years that you are just amazing at really welcoming and honoring everyone, that everyone's opinion matters. You're really authentically curious. You're not that person that, wants everybody's information and then it's all about whatever you want. I've really noticed you have this great ability and intention and really desire that every person has great value to you and you treat everyone with great value. And I really noticed by being able to be anchored in that, just that genuine, authentic caring, that you are always coming up with great ideas, new things. I mean, it's just been a fun journey to watch how such a winning strategy produces such great results.
Well, thank you, Carlette. That's really important to me, and I've always, when I first got into a leadership position, wanted people to feel that. I've honestly been in situations where I didn't feel that at times, and so that was one thing that always stuck with me. Is kind of like, I want people, no matter who they are, if they are, a graduate manager or if they're an associate head coach, or an athletic director, to feel good and know that me knowing them and my relationship with them is important. So thank you for that.
Well, and another great quality of yours is just that ability to have a vision and to make sure that you go for whatever it takes to make happen. I know just becoming a sports life coach was one vision that you had. You wanted to add it to your credential, and there was nothing that stopped you. I mean, it was beautiful to really watch you take something that you want and watch how you're committed and disciplined and on mission to really make it happen. So thank you for sharing just your words of wisdom and you. And it's been a great journey to really be able to see how competitive greatness really shows up week by week.
Thank you so much, Carlette. I've enjoyed it tremendously. I really appreciate it.
Okay, team, it's up to you. Go out and be a champion for you. What is it that you've been really thinking about or interested in going from change to champion? And how can we support you? Get your support team. Hopefully, our words of wisdom have been a gift to you on this journey as we have focused on finding joy on the journey to competitive greatness. Go out and win your week. Thank you, Joy.
Thank you.